But I want to ask, like, how does that make you feel when someone is calling you a narcissist, or that you're gaslighting me, or that you're verbally abusing me? Like, how does that make you feel? So this was actually very interesting. So when we went to our venue, we were trying different drinks to pick out our signature drinks. So we tried 3 or 4 drinks, I think. We only picked 2. So one of the drinks was a mezcal drink, and I had never tried mezcal before.
Yeah, and it's 100% agave. And basically, when I drink alcohol, I actually
He's allergic.
I can't breathe. I get hives. I get a headache. Massive hangover times 10.
Mm-hmm. Like, he'll have one sip of wine and his whole entire face will be like just red.
Yep. So I have
Flushed.
what's called the Asian glow, and I just don't have the enzyme to break down out the byproduct of alcohol until
Mezcal, baby.
now I can actually drink.
Yeah. So cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers to mescalinis. And this is a friggin' bomb.
At our wedding, I'm going to be drinking this all night long.
All right, I'm going to put
Open
this down
bar for anyone who's going to be there. The entire cast of The Amazing Race, open bar. It's going to be a blast.
All right. So shall we get into this this recap? So actually, I think this is going to be one of our best videos I do.
Oh.
And I just want to like kind of set the tone. This is going to be very different from the previous recaps. It's going to be less about the race, more about our relationship. I mean, at this point, it's not about the race anymore.
Not for us. No, not for us.
We're just trying not to kill each other at this point in the race.
Well, it's the story of 2 really strong-minded individuals that can probably take on the world, but together have a hard time.
Let's give some context into how we started this leg, right? I don't think either one of us had the best mindset going into this leg. And you can explain how you were feeling, and I can explain how I was feeling, and that did not help us at all.
I need another drink.
Okay. So for me, I haven't really shared this a lot on social media. I got off birth control in, I think, June or July of 2022. So this was right before we were training for the race. I didn't realize it until after I stopped taking the birth control, how messed up my hormones really were. So after the race, I actually took a deep dive into my hormones, and I started cycle syncing and went to an OBGYN.
But let me tell you what cycle syncing is. I feel like you're using that term and then they might not know.
Yeah.
So cycle syncing, for all the fellas out there, like really though, like learn what cycle syncing is.
Mm-hmm.
So basically what it means is that your partner, if she is a woman, your partner has these cycles and her hormones go up and down all throughout the cycle. And a lot of people, men will just be like, oh, it's just her period. It's like, no, that's just the menstruation phase, bro.
That's actually not the worst part.
That's not the worst part. There's the follicular, there's the luteal. And when she's in her luteal phase, that's a different Amber than I know.
I went into that leg and I just was not myself. I was very irritable. I was at his throat with everything. And I personally felt like I should be the one getting attacked for how I acted during this episode, not you. I mean, granted, you did not talk to me the best, but I don't blame you for getting aggravated with me. During this leg, I was at my worst part of my cycle, which is your luteal phase. And so after the Amazing Race, I really started like researching things, went to the gynecologist, told her about these feelings that I had right before my period, and I got diagnosed with PMDD, really. PMDD is basically like PMS on steroids. A lot of women go through it. It's debilitating, actually, and it can ruin relationships.
It truly does fluctuate significantly with Amber.
So imagine like going into that leg and having no self-confidence. I was getting good at navigation, and I think that I got in my head, and I was like, nope, I suck. I can't do this. And so I do take it out on Vincent. And there was moments that they showed in that leg, like how I was just like working against you. And it's not gaslighting. I was working against you. against us as a team.
Yeah,
Like,
it was interesting how they really, because the words that I use can easily be misunderstood when taken out of context. So it's really interesting how they chose to edit us, but it makes so much sense knowing what we know. It makes a lot of
mhm,
sense as to uh, the development of this story and
mhm.
how they're creating conflict within our relationship. And was it truly there? Absolutely. We had frustrations. We're
Mhm.
trying to
Win $1 million.
win $1 million. Like, this is the amount of money that could change the trajectory of anyone's life, at least at our level.
And let's also talk about how we're over halfway through with the season, right? And we're stuck in these hotel rooms for sometimes 3 days max. I don't
Yeah.
know, 2 or 3 days. You're stuck in a hotel room. You have no form of communication. It's literally me and him just staring at each other in a hotel room. People are like, oh, can you go down to the bar? Like, no, you can't go down to the bar. You can't go out and roam around. You can't go see the country you're in. Like, no, you're literally stuck in a hotel room, like sequestered,
Like,
like COVID.
the highlight of your day is actually when breakfast, lunch, or dinner comes to the door.
And I'm like, ooh, what are we having today?
Yeah, you're like, ooh, yesterday we had ham and cheese.
And
Today,
then Juan got food poisoning. So it's
uh,
like, then after that happened, I was like, oh God, am I going to get food poisoning?
yeah. Did you see him? He was like, oh,
It was
shame.
awful.
You gotta carry us.
I remember being on the bus and he just threw his guts up in a bag in front of me. And I was
Mm,
just like, poor guy. I can't imagine
mhm.
feeling that way, you know?
I felt so bad
I
for
felt so
him.
bad for him. But anyways, we're over it. We're done. We're ready. We're ready to go home. He was thinking about quitting. This is our fourth country in South America, the same Spanish speaking teams winning, and we're just feeling defeated. You know, we can't get ahead. We're arguing. Our
It,
sleep is all messed up. Our routine. We're creatures of habit, so like all that's just out the window.
yeah, and I feel like, there was a couple episodes or seasons back when what was Sharik on?
I think she was on Ken. No, not Ken and Penn.
Yeah, it was, I
No, I
thought.
think it was.
Any
It was Derek and Claire's season.
Okay, so
Yeah.
34 then. So
Mhm.
Sharik had that, situation where she talked about how she wanted to quit. And there, America threw a fit, like
That was early on too.
you should never be trying to quit the amazing race. And I gotta be honest, like, Amber and I are probably, in all humility, like, we're probably some of the top most effective and top performers that we've ever met in our lives. Like, people don't really keep up with the way that we do things. I really did want to quit. Like, it was just like, man, I'd rather do anesthesia. Our life back home is pretty dope. But we told ourselves in the beginning of this race, we're like, babe, I remember telling you and being like, babe, like, we only have like one gear, right? Which is like
Go.
100% go, be authentic, get dialed into the goal. So the goal is to win, and you get so focused in there. And I said, how we are, and our followers know how we are.
Mhm.
And we know that
We have no brakes. It's all gas.
not all of America will understand that when they first meet us.
I mean, even Rod and Leticia were talking about how they miss their families and they were just, everyone is getting homesick. Everyone's getting a little burnt out. And
This
I
was
just,
when Juan and Shane were starting to knock on the producers' doors and be like, I thought you said that we're going to be able to talk to our
oh,
family. Can we get that
yeah.
phone call now?
Yes.
Because, we're missing our families, missing our homes, the comforts of everything. And for us, we're like defeated. We're losing. We're almost killing each other. It's frustrating at every level. You're kind of at a standstill. Every 3 days you do a race. Even on the race course, I hate to be real, but like, you're also getting reprimanded and yelled at
By other people.
by the production team, and because they have their own
They
agenda.
have their rules.
They have the rules and their own things that they
Mhm.
need to abide by, and we are over here trying to figure out how do we fit in through this
But
whole
like
thing.
we couldn't even talk to each other when the cameras weren't rolling and we would get yelled at.
And it came from a lot of our cast, a lot of the different casts. They were just like,
They were all feeling the same
I'm
way.
not sure how long we can keep going. I mean, we're gonna keep going because every one of us are freaking ride or die. We're just committed to this race, but we're still fighting against every fiber of our being to go. For us, at least, it's like I'm kind of good. We can't speak the language that well. You can't make a mistake because if you make a mistake, you'll lose your lead.
Yeah.
And we're
I mean,
just,
it's obvious we were ahead, and then the drums got us, and we lost our lead there. You know, you kill it in a roadblock, we get to the detour, and we struggle.
we get lost with a car, situation. And mind you, like Uruguay was a leg that we've started to feel comfortable. In that mega leg, we told ourselves, man, I think we could do pretty good on our own. Uruguay's navigation, other than that car situation, was almost flawless.
Yeah.
And so there was so much frustration with these things that were happening that I mean, like I'd like to talk about how I responded to you. And I'm not proud by any stretch of the imagination of how frustrated I get in those stressful situations and how I communicate with you. And the odd thing is it's only you, right? Like you get your closest loved ones get the worst of you. And it's so odd about the human dynamic that you do that, that we have to consciously really work on putting the best foot forward for our partner and supporting her through that. But you throw in the pressure of the race, you throw in my monkey chimp mind that gets dialed into trying to win, especially when I just crushed that detour.
We were neck and neck with Ricky and Cesar again. And that just shows, like, when you're, like, fighting for first place, there's, like, a next level of pressure,
Right. And so we've never really felt a consistent, like, first place, second place, first place, second place. Like, Ricky and Cesar, they're just, like, jogging at this point. They're like, we're just going to get first. Crazy. Why don't we just give them second place? So no way. We'll just, all right, this time, let's go. And they're just able to really beat us on every level of the race.
Yeah, they're so good in all dimensions, relationship. They made us look so bad when they did that reel, and it was comparing them versus us. And it's like, well, I asked Ricky, I said, you want to give us some relationship advice, Ricky?
But I'd like to defend us and say that the Dream Team is authentic. Like, there is nothing else that you're going to get from us except ourselves. It doesn't matter if the cameras are rolling. It don't matter if it's a YouTube. It don't matter if I'm out with my best friends or I'm out with people I don't know. They're going to get to know me just the way that everyone else does, and same with our relationship. And I think sometimes it's like Dave Chappelle when keeping it real goes wrong, right? And it's like, the thing is I'm okay with that. Our outcomes
speak for themselves.
We don't need to prove to anybody. We've been around. We've been talking about our public relationship, the struggles, the triumphs, the successes, the failures for a long time. And our followers will speak to it like they've been around.
So I kind of want to get a little more serious. Like, we've received a lot of hate on social media. It's not just him. People were calling me a narcissist. And that just goes to show how overused, misunderstood these terms are. But I want to ask, like, how does that make you feel when someone is calling you a narcissist, or that you're gaslighting me, or that you're verbally abusing me? Like, how does that make you feel?
I have to really, like, drop in to those feelings. I know the context, right? I know who I am. I know what I do, but they don't. So I really have to drop into that and understand their point of view.
Their perspective.
And their perspective is a narcissist. To describe me as a narcissist is not far off from what I truly am, which is someone who is strategic, someone who does think about every little step. But the difference, I think, for me is that it's your motive of your actions is what determines whether or not that characteristic is you. So, like, for me, like, I'm not out to try to attack her, or abuse her, or make her feel smaller, or make her feel like I would never want that for you.
Mm-hmm.
Like I already know so much about your self confidence and your self talk. And I know my own personal journey with self talk and that I've not been the most confident individual in all my life. And I know that journey. So I would never want that. But to mix in other things and struggles and pressures and the race, it does get hard to balance all the different things. And yes, at the end of the day, I have to take care of number one always, which is me. And even I would tell my kids that to their grave, like, daddy's gonna come first, just like you, for you, you come first. And then mommy's gonna come second, and then us comes third. Because if we can stay 100 for ourselves, then everything that overflows can be given to her as she is fulfilling her own tank. And I think that it's really sad. It was hurtful. It was really, especially when they start calling me disgusting.
Yeah, it was really hard for me to hear that, we're engaged and we're planning a wedding. This is supposed to be like a moment of joy. And it's just really like, I was trying not to cry. I cry every time.
Should we put the cry counter on? We should put the cry counter on.
I just think it's really sad that this is supposed to be a moment of like joy, and like we're in like our engagement phase and we're getting married, and people are telling me like, oh, like don't marry him, like call off the engagement, run while you can. And it's just like really sad that that's happening. And
I know marriage is kind of viewed nowadays as something that's whatever, but like for us, there's a whole reason why I'm 37 and I'm not married is because there's a lot of value that I'm putting when I get married. Like when I get to that level is going to be some sacred experience for both of us.
like I just want to say that people don't know you like I know you, and like we've been together for almost 6 years now. I've seen the way that you are. Like you're the most like selfless person that I know. We had two of our really close friends struggling in anesthesia school to pass, and Vincent took the time to help them every single day so that they could pass. And it's like people don't see that side of him. I don't know. I just feel like you would do anything for anyone, especially the people in your circle.
There are times where I can work on my communication 100%. And I do all the time. And on the Amazing Race, it was very hard. It was one of the hardest things because you don't know what to prepare for, right? Any sport that I've played, I can prepare. Any test, any CRNA interview, anything I can prepare for and then crush it. But the Amazing Race really challenges you because it exposes things that you probably never would learn about yourself. And it just really lends to the idea of like one of our philosophies is like growth is on the other side of comfort. And so when we push ourselves beyond our comfort zone, we get to learn. And so like our learning process from the Amazing Race is still not over. Like we're literally learning so much about how we respond to the hate messages and how we respond to this energy. And to me, like we're now starting to get energized and being like, yo, you're gonna hate on the dream team and you're gonna learn.
I feel like our relationship has been anything but easy because we just have very different communication styles, and we clash, and we don't work well as a team. Neither one of us. We work well solo. We're solo artists. We do well by ourselves. We don't work well as a team. And so anytime when we first started doing YouTube, we would fight. We would argue.
Refer to that video. Or why we're not married video. Yeah. That was our very first video.
Well, not very first.
Like our first YouTube.
No, we did one more. We did that Q&A one.
Oh, you're right. See, that's my memory. This is why she is the one in charge of making the choices.
But it was one of our first YouTube videos, and that was a whole journey in itself. Getting like now we're like cruising. This is like nothing for us. We don't fight. We don't argue about anything. We can work as a team doing these YouTube videos.
Yeah.
We have a system that works.
Yeah.
So in the beginning,
at first it was tough. It was like bumping heads, and it was like, who's taking the creative role? Mm-hmm. Who's doing the lighting? Who's doing the microphone? Who's doing the post production? Mm-hmm. Who's doing? What are we talking about? Are you leading the conversation? Am I going to lead?
You would do the edits, and I'd be like, babe, these edits are trash. What are you doing? But anyways, in the beginning of our relationship, we struggled a lot. And we know that this was filmed 2 years ago. And we get better every single day. And we know that it's a work in progress.
I don't think I can abuse this woman if I tried.
Or manipulate me.
I can't manipulate her. I mean, you get the most master manipulator.
People said I'm submissive.
Amber does not listen to anyone but what she wants to listen to. So if you're not, I'm a Pisces.
I am. A Pisces don't listen. Pisces are like one of the most stubborn zodiac signs.
And I'm a Leo, right? So I'm like the leader of the clan, and it's like, not with this one. She's the leader. She's in charge. And that has been part of the growth of our relationship. Like, I am like the side event. Like, this is the main event.
I think for me, though, I have really good judgment of character, and I can read people really well. I think that's an intuition thing for Pisces. And I knew that Vincent was a good person. I knew that he had a good heart. I knew that he had pure intentions, no malice. Like, I don't know, like he does what he says and says what he means, and he's 100. Like, he comes through. If he says he's going to do something, he's going to do it. He's reliable. And so that's why I think, like, I never gave up on him. I was like, he's a good person. He'll figure it out. We'll figure it out together, and we'll do the work. And we did the work, and now we're here, and it's great. Yeah, we're having to relive some of this
drama,
awful crap. Like, yeah, we're not proud to see that how we acted on TV, but we can be like, damn, that was 2 years ago.
But I can also look at that and be like, I see courage. I see bravery to really, truly put yourself out there for all of America to scrutinize and from the couch and really try to psychoanalyze us. And it's like, I don't think there's a thing that any one of y'all can say about me that I haven't already questioned about myself. Mm-hmm. And so when you say a narcissist, when you say condescending, I'm very, very confident that I already know who I am. And I've learned to rely on my outcomes to speak for themselves rather than to listen to someone else. So anybody who deals with maybe self-talk issues, just like Amber and I have in the past, or confidence problems, like just show up for yourself over and over again. And that's going to instill and cultivate something really new and special in you. And then those outcomes start to become patterns, and you start to be a whole different person. No matter what someone else says about you, you know what you are. Mm-hmm. And so when you call me a narcissist, I'm like, miss the mark. It's close. I'm strategic, but I'm not in malice. And so the motives are wrong. Mm-hmm. A gaslighter. No, I'm a challenge Amber.
You call out people on their bullshit.
Yeah, even my best friends. I'll be like, no, you can't. No, that's not okay. You can't do that. I'm not cool with me. If you're gonna roll with me, then I'm cool. I'm cool with it. Why do you think I'm a serial entrepreneur? I don't have a boss. We work for ourselves. And the reason why is because we're self-thinkers. We don't allow somebody to choose an outcome for us. We make our own outcomes because we want to be in control of that. So am I a narcissist in the sense that I'm controlling? I am controlling. I can't control this one though, but I am controlling of our outcomes. If anything, this girl is the one who's going to beat me up. So anyways, I love you guys. I ask you to hold your judgments because I don't think the ride is over.
And I feel like you can't really get to know someone. Yes, the cameras are up. Oh, they must be worse without the cameras. Honestly, I think that's the worst we've ever been because it was such a high stress situation.
Anyway, so wrap it up. We just watched the episode. Sorry we didn't even talk about it. But I do think that Wednesday nights, CBS, The Amazing Race, it's going to be fire. Tune in.
Here, it's one of these cars.
Do you see it?
Park further up? Do we cross the street?
Baby, please listen to me. You're not listening.
Babe, this is the street.
We're over there.
If you think you have what it takes to win the amazing race, go to cbs.com/casting and apply now.
Talk about the race a little bit now that we've already had a therapy session.
Pre-race thoughts, quick, go.
Okay, so we start the leg in